Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nipunika Shahid with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for fulfilling Bapu's dream of rural development and self-reliant villages, addresses Gujarat Mahapanchayat Sammelan at Ahmedabad. Political activities pick up pace in 5 states for formation of new governments. Home Minister Amit Shah asks central agencies to join crime and criminal tracking network and systems for effective policing. India and China hold 15th round of Corps Commander level talks in Ladakh. India and Canada to relaunch Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement negotiations to unlock full potential of bilateral trade. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu urges states to implement national education policy. CBSE releases date sheet of second term of board examination for classes 10th and 12th. UNSC to convene a meeting today at Russia's request to discuss alleged U.S. military biological activities in Ukraine. And in Women's World Cup cricket, India to take on West Indies at Hamilton tomorrow. As we start the bulletin, we appeal to our listeners to stay safe from COVID-19 by following these 4 simple steps. Get fully vaccinated, wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for fulfilling Mahatma Gandhi's dream of rural development and self-reliant villages. The Prime Minister was addressing the Gujarat Mahapanchayat Sammelan at GMDC ground in Ahmedabad this evening.
ये बापू की धरती है, ये सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की धरती है और बापू ने हमेशा ग्रामीण विकास की बात, आत्मनिर्भर गांव की बात, सशक्त और समर्थ गांव की बात सदा सर्वदा कही है और इसलिए जब आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं तो पूज्य बापू के सपनों के हम सब एक प्रकार से प्रतिबद्ध हैं कि आजादी के जंग में जो सपने देख करके लोगों ने अपने आप को आहूत किया, अपनी जवानी खपा दी, हमें उन सपनों को साकार करना चाहिए.
Mr. Modi said the Panchayati Raj system is very important to achieve Bapu's dream of Gram Swarajya.
ग्राम स्वराज का सपना साकार करने के लिए पंचायती राज व्यवस्था अपने आप में एक महत्वपूर्ण व्यवस्था है और उस व्यवस्था को प्राण देने का काम, दिशा देने का काम, परिवर्तन लाने का निरंतर प्रयास करने का काम, उसे गति देने का काम आप सभी जनप्रतिनिधि कर रहे हैं, पंच सरपंच कर रहे हैं और मुझे विश्वास है कि पूज्य बापू के सपनों को पूरा करते हुए गुजरात की पंचायत राज व्यवस्था, गुजरात की ग्रामीण जीवन की व्यवस्थाएं देश के लिए एक सीमा चूर्ण रूप बनेगी, प्रेरक बनेगी, ऐसा मेरा पूरा विश्वास है.
The Prime Minister said Gujarat is at the forefront in the country in women's representation in the Panchayati Raj system.
આજે જ્યારે હું પંચાયતના આપ સૌ સાથીઓ સાથે મળવા તો મને મોકો મળ્યો છે. એમાં મોટા ભાગે બહેનો છે અને ગુજરાતનું સદભાગ્ય છે. શાયદ देश के लोगों को पता नहीं होगा, गुजरात में पंचायत व्यवस्था में पुरुषों से ज्यादा प्रतिनिधित्व महिलाएं कर रही है.
Mr. Modi also praised the villagers of the country for showing awareness against the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister appealed to the Panchayat members to work for the upliftment of the villagers with a series of small initiatives. He appealed to the villagers and Panchayat members to work for the upliftment of village schools, water conservation, natural farming and tree plantation. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that about 1.4 lakh representatives of taluka and district panchayats and councillors of municipal corporations, along with women sarpanches of villages, attended the event. The Prime Minister is on a 2-day visit to Gujarat from today. This is his first visit to the state after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Earlier in the day, Mr. Modi held meetings with senior BJP leaders, including MPs and MLAs at the state party headquarters in Gandhinagar. According to sources, the meeting is significant in view of the forthcoming state assembly elections in Gujarat. Elections are scheduled to be held in December this year. Governor of Gujarat Acharya Devvrat, Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, along with senior ministers and top officials, received Prime Minister Modi at Ahmedabad Airport this morning. After the announcement of assembly election results in the 5 states of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Manipur and Punjab, political activities have picked up for the formation of new governments. BJP has retained power in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur, while Aam Aadmi Party has swept the Punjab assembly polls. In Uttar Pradesh, BJP has been given a historic second successive term in office. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath gave his resignation to Governor Anandiben Patel today, paving the way for the formation of a new government. The Governor has asked him to continue on his post till the formation of the new government. BJP has secured a majority by winning 255 seats in the 403-member assembly. Samajwadi Party has won in 111 seats. The Congress has won 2 seats, while BSP has only 1. The BJP has secured an absolute majority in the elections to the 70-member Legislative Assembly in Uttarakhand as well. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami tendered his resignation to Governor Gurmeet Singh at Raj Bhavan this afternoon. The Governor has asked him to continue as the acting Chief Minister until the new government is sworn in. Mr. Dhami failed to retain his seat from Khatima constituency. Union ministers and senior BJP leaders Piyush Goyal and Dharmendra Pradhan have been appointed as observers to elect the leader of the BJP Legislative Party in Uttarakhand. The BJP won 47 seats, while Congress got 19 seats. BSP and Independents have won 2 seats each in Uttarakhand.
The Goa Cabinet today passed a resolution to dissolve the State Assembly. Informing this, Chief Minister Pramod Sawant said the resolution will be sent to Governor on Monday. Mr. Sawant said today was the last Cabinet meeting of his government. The tenure of the present Assembly concludes on 15th March. He said central observers will be coming to Goa to hold discussion on government formation. He said swearing-in ceremony of new government will be decided by the central observers. Meanwhile, senior leader of Maharashtravadi Gomantak Party, Sudin Dhavlikar, said the party has extended unconditional support to BJP with assurance that they will not break any political party. In the 40-member Goa Assembly, the BJP has won 20 seats, while the Congress secured 11 seats. MGP and Aam Aadmi Party won 2 seats each. 3 independents have also won assembly seats. In Manipur, Chief Minister N. Biren Singh and other cabinet ministers submitted their resignation papers to the Governor Laganeshan this evening. The Governor asked him to continue in his office until the new government took charge. The BJP held a marathon discussion at party office at Imphal this morning. Manipur BJP in charge Sambit Patra left for Delhi from Manipur this evening to discuss with national leaders on the formation of state government. Bharatiya Janata Party has secured majority by winning 32 seats in the 60-member assembly. The National People's Party got 7 seats. In Punjab, AAP is geared up to form new government after getting a thumping majority. Chief Minister-elect of AAP Bhagwant Mann met Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal at his residence in Delhi today. In a tweet, Mr. Kejriwal said that Mr. Mann came to his residence to invite him for the oath-taking ceremony. Mr. Kejriwal expressed confidence that as a Chief Minister, Bhagwant Mann will fulfill every expectation of the people of Punjab. The party sources said the oath-taking ceremony of the new Punjab government will take place at Katkar Kalan on the 16th of March, the day the term of the current Punjab Legislative Assembly will end. Mr. Mann will visit Punjab Governor Banwari Lal Purohit tomorrow to stake claim to form the government. Aam Aadmi Party has won assembly elections with a thumping majority. It has secured 92 seats in the 117-member assembly. Meanwhile, outgoing Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi today convened his last cabinet meeting at his residence in Chandigarh. After the meeting, they handed over their resignations to the Punjab Governor. The Election Commission of India has announced lifting of Model Code of Conduct with immediate effect following the culmination of assembly elections in 5 states. These states are Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. The Commission said as the result of assembly election polls in these states and by-election for one assembly constituency in Assam have been declared, the Model Code of Conduct has ceased to be in operation with immediate effect except in the districts of Uttar Pradesh, where it is enforced due to biennial election to local authorities constituencies of Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council.
Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Smriti Irani today hit out at Arvind Kejriwal-led Delhi government for not releasing the funds worth 13,000 crore rupees to the three municipal corporations of Delhi, which is due from the last 7 years. Addressing media in New Delhi, Ms. Irani alleged that the AAP government has stopped the fund with an intention not to allow the corporations to carry out development works in their jurisdiction.
दिल्ली के नागरिक वो नजारा भी देख चुके जब अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने स्वतः नगर निगम का गत 7 वर्षों में 13,000 करोड़ रुपया रोक के रखा ताकि निगम अपने कार्यों में विफल हो। क्या अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ये जवाब देने की कृपा करेंगे कि क्यों उन्होंने दिल्ली में सफाई कर्मी एवं सफाई व्यवस्था के फंड को निगम की परिधि में रोक कर रखा है?
Home Minister Amit Shah today said all central agencies should join Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and Systems (CCTNS). Mr. Shah said Home Secretary should hold a meeting with all the chiefs of central agencies in this regard. The Home Minister was speaking at the 37th Foundation Day celebrations of the National Crime Records Bureau in New Delhi.
CCTNS पर सारे देश के लगभग 16,390 पुलिस स्टेशन जुड़ चुके हैं, परंतु केंद्रीय एजेंसियां इसके अंदर नहीं जुड़ी हैं। ना सीबीआई जुड़ी है, ना नारकोटिक्स कंट्रोल ब्यूरो जुड़ा है, ना एनआईए जुड़ी है। सबका अपना अपना महत्व होना चाहिए, मगर एफआईआर और एफआईआर की वर्णन में क्या है, क्या गोपनीयता है, तो सार्वजनिक हो चुका है, वो क्यों रजिस्टर नहीं होता है? हमारा आग्रह होना चाहिए गृह मंत्रालय का कि सभी भारत सरकार की एजेंसियां सीसीटीएनएस को कुछ ही दिनों के अंदर ज्वाइन करें।
Mr. Shah said NCRB data should be used by all states to form the yearly strategy for their police force. He said the data should be used for multi-purpose and in a multidimensional way for crime control.
India and China held the 15th round of Corps Commander level talks on the Indian side of Chushul-Moldo border post in Ladakh today. The talks began at 10 this morning. The General Officer commanding GOC of 14 Corps, Lieutenant General Anindya Sengupta, is leading an Indian delegation in the talks. The Government of India has taken a serious view and ordered a high-level court of inquiry into the accidental firing of a missile. The Ministry of Defence in a statement said on the 9th of March, in the course of a routine maintenance, a technical malfunction led to the accidental firing of a missile. The ministry said it has learned that the missile landed in an area of Pakistan. It added while the incident is deeply regrettable, it is also a matter of relief that there has been no loss of life due to the accident.
The Commerce and Industry Ministry has said India-Canada will relaunch the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement negotiations to unlock the full potential of bilateral trade. India and Canada held the 5th Ministerial Dialogue on Trade and Investment today. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion and International Trade of Canada, Mary Ng, co-chaired the meeting. A range of other bilateral trade and investment issues were discussed during the meeting. The ministers emphasized that the trade agreement would help in expanding bilateral trade in goods and services through unlocking the potential across sectors. Chemicals and Fertilizers Ministry has released guidelines for the scheme strengthening of the pharmaceutical industry. The ministry said the scheme will extend support required to existing pharma clusters and micro, small and medium enterprises across the country.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 179 crore 89 lakh today. Health Ministry said more than 16 lakh 14,000 vaccine doses were administered today. The recovery rate is currently at 98.70%. Over 4,000 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. China is again battling a severe COVID-19 outbreak of highly infectious Omicron variant as it has put 9 million residents of Changchun, capital of northeast China's Jilin province, under lockdown and suspended schools in the financial center Shanghai. According to the National Health Commission, China reported 1,100 domestic infections today, the highest level since the peak of the Wuhan outbreak, a tally that has risen from just over 300 cases a day in less than a week.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has termed as speculative and misinformed an article which claimed that COVID-19 mortality in India is higher than the official count. This article was published in an international journal. The ministry said data sources used by this study appear to have been taken from newspaper reports and non-peer-reviewed studies. The Health Ministry said reporting of deaths is regularly done in a transparent manner and is updated daily in the public domain on the website of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for fulfilling Bapu's dream of rural development and self-reliant villages, addresses Gujarat Mahapanchayat Sammelan at Ahmedabad. Political activities pick up pace in 5 states for formation of new governments. Home Minister Amit Shah asks central agencies to join crime and criminal tracking network and systems for effective policing. India and China hold 15th round of Corps Commander level talks in Ladakh. India and Canada to relaunch comprehensive economic partnership agreement negotiations to unlock full potential of bilateral trade. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu urges states to implement national education policy. CBSE releases date sheet of second term of board examination for classes 10th and 12th. UNSC to convene a meeting today at Russia's request to discuss alleged U.S. military biological activities in Ukraine. And in Women's World Cup cricket, India to take on West Indies at Hamilton tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has urged all states to implement the National Education Policy NEP 2020 in letter and spirit, calling it a visionary document. The Vice President was speaking virtually at the foundation-laying ceremony of the Kanchenjunga State University in Sikkim. The ceremony was conducted in the virtual mode from Samman Bhavan in Gangtok. Mr. Naidu said the NEP will help in meeting the demands of the 21st century.
Speaking at the foundation-laying ceremony for Kanchenjunga State University, Sikkim Governor Ganga Prasad stressed on the importance of education in nation building and said that the institution will be another addition to existing center of learning, making Sikkim an educational hub in the entire Northeast region. Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang said that the university will be a center of modern learning and provide students the best platform to become global citizens. Later in the day, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu interacted with a group of students from Sikkim who were recently evacuated from Ukraine and unveiled a statue of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose at Raj Bhavan, Sikkim, with Saikat Sarkar, Diliram Dulal from Gangtok for AIR.
The Central Board of Secondary Education CBSE has released the date sheet of the second term board examination for classes 10th and 12th. In a circular issued today, CBSE has informed that the board exam will start from the 26th of next month and will conclude on the 15th of June this year. Keeping in view the learning losses by the students during the pandemic, the board has set more gap between the two examinations in almost all the subjects of both the classes. Other competitive examinations, including JEE Main, have been taken care of while preparing the date sheet.
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has said that India is changing fast with economic and technology development and innovation, and youth has the biggest contribution in it. Mr. Birla was addressing the valedictory ceremony of National Youth Parliament Festival at the Central Hall of Parliament today.
ये पुरस्कार हम सबको नई प्रेरणा देता है, नए कार्य को करने के लिए उत्साह देता है और ये संयोग है कि हम कहते हैं कि भारत बदलता देश है और उस बदलते देश के अंदर महिलाओं का, युवा महिलाओं का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। आज मुझे हर क्षेत्र में दिखता है।
In his address, Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports Anurag Singh Thakur said over 2,44,000 youth participated in the National Youth Parliament Festival this year from all around the country. Information and Broadcasting Secretary Apurva Chandra today released AIR Inspection Manual. The manual is a well-compiled booklet of rules and regulations related to inspection. This compendium will benefit both the inspecting staff and field units on various aspects and technicalities of inspection. On this occasion, Prasar Bharati CEO Shashi Shekhar Vempati, Director General All India Radio, and Principal Director General AIR News N. Venudha Reddy, Director General Doordarshan Mayank Agarwal, Member Finance Prasar Bharati DPS Negi, and other senior officers of Information and Broadcasting Ministry were present.
Another batch of students returned to India under Operation Ganga this morning and were reunited with their families and friends. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur welcomed the students at the airport in New Delhi. In a tweet, Mr. Thakur said the government remains committed to the safety of every Indian citizen from Ukraine. The United Nations Security Council is convening a meeting today at Russia's request. First Deputy Permanent Representative of Russian Mission to the United Nations, Dmitry Polyansky, said in a tweet that his country has asked for a meeting of the Security Council to discuss the military biological activities of the United States on the territory of Ukraine. Russia repeated its accusation of several years that the United States is working with Ukrainian laboratories to develop biological weapons. Such assertions increased in Russian media in the run-up to Moscow's military move in Ukraine and were made as recently as Wednesday by Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova. However, the United States denied renewed Russian accusations that Washington was operating biological warfare labs in Ukraine, calling the claims laughable and suggesting Moscow may be laying the groundwork to use a chemical or biological weapon.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today we remember Sayaji Rao Gaikwad III, who was born on 11th March 1863. He was the Maharaja of Baroda state from 1875 to 1939. Merely months after acquiring full powers, he opened 8 schools for girls and a training college for women teachers in 1881. The Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda, which runs even today, was also opened in 1881. His tenure saw the abolishment of infant marriage, legalization of widow remarriage, and the introduction of free and compulsory primary education in 1893.
Sayaji Rao was also a supporter of abolition of caste differences.
It is well known that his patronage brought forth some of the best talents of the time. The most well-known example is Raja Ravi Varma, who had his first exhibition at the Baroda Palace. He is also famously known for sponsoring Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's college education abroad. He also sent financial assistance to famous social reformer Jyotirao Phule.
Sayaji emphasized upon the development of railway network within his state, construction of water systems, and the strengthening of commercial banks. He founded the Bank of Baroda in 1908.
Sayaji Rao supported Bal Gangadhar Tilak, as also extended his public support to Mahatma Gandhi and the Indian National Congress. The British despised his apparent disinterest in showing allegiance to the crown and feared his actions. In fact, in a famous incident in 1911, when the British King George V came to Delhi, Sayaji Rao was criticized by the British for deliberately turning his back to the British monarch. After a long and eventful reign of 63 years, Sayaji Rao Gaikwad III died on 6 February 1939. We salute the great Indian.
Today, we also remember the independence activist Chandrabhanu Gupta. He was born in district Aligarh in 1902. Gupta joined the Indian independence movement at the age of 17 when he took part in demonstrations against the Rowlatt Act in Sitapur.
Uttar Pradesh, Bharat ki shaan, Uttar Pradesh.
Chandrabhanu, along with his associates, planned to break the salt law in Lucknow. They gathered at the Gunge Nawab Park in the Aminabad area of Lucknow. At the park, they broke the salt law.
The British police arrested them. After the trial, Chandrabhanu Gupta and his associates were sent to jail. Post-independence, Chandrabhanu Gupta served 3 terms as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. He breathed his last on the 11th of March 1980 at New Delhi. AIR News pays tribute to the great nationalist.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
11th March is also the birth anniversary of Madan Singh Matwale, who was born in the princely state of Hyderabad in 1925. He fought for the independence and unification of Hyderabad with India.
Vande Matara Geetam Vadasa Marutunnadi, Vande Matara Geetam Vadasa Marutunnadi, Taram Marutunnadi, Aswaram Marutunnadi.
Madan Singh had his first confrontation with the Riyasat of Hyderabad when the Arya Samaj started a movement against the princely state. Success of this movement encouraged Madan Singh and he jumped into the movement which was aimed for the merger of Hyderabad state with the Indian Union.
On 14th August 1948, Madan Singh hoisted the Indian flag at his home. The police of Hyderabad state wanted to take down the flag, but Madan Singh fought hard. The barbaric officers dragged him and took him into custody. Madan Singh Matwale died due to the police torture. We salute the brave son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In sports, in the ICC Women's World Cup Cricket, India will take on the West Indies at the Seddon Park, Hamilton tomorrow. The match is scheduled to begin at 6:30 a.m. Indian time. Meanwhile, the second cricket test between India and Sri Lanka men's team will begin tomorrow in Bengaluru. In German Open Badminton, the quarter-final match between India's H.S. Pranoy and Lakshya Sen is underway. Kidambi Srikanth and Victor Axelsen of Denmark will also play their quarter-final match later this evening.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have strong surface winds during daytime. Leh and Gilgit are likely to have partly cloudy sky. Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl, Kohima, Itanagar and Gangtok will have mainly clear sky. Now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls for fulfilling Bapu's dream of rural development and self-reliant villages, addresses Gujarat Mahapanchayat Sammelan at Ahmedabad. Political activities pick up pace in 5 states for formation of new governments. Home Minister Amit Shah asks central agencies to join crime and criminal tracking network and systems for effective policing. India and China hold 15th round of Corps Commander level talks in Ladakh. India and Canada to relaunch comprehensive economic partnership agreement negotiations to unlock full potential of bilateral trade. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu urges states to implement national education policy. CBSE releases date sheet of second term of board examination for classes 10th and 12th. UNSC to convene a meeting today at Russia's request to discuss alleged US military biological activities in Ukraine. And in Women's World Cup cricket, India to take on West Indies at Hamilton tomorrow. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.